brilliant mind, stuck at home for like 10 years. Not sick, but basically under house arrest by order of a, well, pretty unpredictable ruler.
Right.
But instead of just giving up, this isolation, it becomes the very place where he has these breakthroughs that literally change how we understand sight.
It's an incredible story.
Today we're digging into the amazing life and work of Abu Ali al-Hasan Ibn al-Haytham. You might know him better as Al-Hazen in the West.
Often called the father of optics.
Exactly, and some even call him the first scientist, and we'll see why. We've got a whole stack of sources here, historical accounts, scientific analyses, even philosophical texts. And our mission today is to pull out the most important insights about this truly revolutionary medieval thinker. We want to get at not just what he did, but how he did it, his whole approach.
And how it still matters today. There's some really surprising connections.
Absolutely. So today you'll hear about his pretty dramatic life story, his completely game-changing work in optics, how he pioneered what we now call the scientific method, and the legacy that stretched for centuries, influencing some huge names.
It really shaped so much of modern science.
Okay, let's dive in. Ibn al-Haytham's life. Where do we start?
Well, he was born in Basra, in modern-day Iraq, around 965 CE.
Right, and this is smack bang in the middle of the Islamic Golden Age.
Exactly, a time of incredible intellectual ferment, huge scientific advances, cultural growth. People weren't just reading the ancient Greeks, they were actively building on them, challenging them.
And he quickly got a reputation, didn't he, as a bit of a whiz, especially in, like, applied mathematics.
Oh, absolutely. His fame spread. And eventually it reached Cairo, and the ruler there, the Fatimid Caliph al-Hakim.
Ah, Hakim. Now, the story goes that the caliph heard Ibn al-Haytham had made this pretty bold claim.
Extremely bold. He apparently boasted he could figure out how to regulate the flooding of the Nile River, a massive engineering challenge even today, let alone back then.
So the caliph basically said, okay, prove it. Invited him to Egypt around 1011 CE.
That's right. Come to Cairo, put your money where your mouth is.
But then reality hits.
It's hard. Imagine him arriving, actually seeing the sheer scale of the Nile, looking at the incredible engineering the ancient Egyptians had already done.
Yeah.
He must have realized pretty quickly, this is not possible. Not with the technology they had. He apparently reasoned that if it could be done, the brilliant engineers of the past would have already done it.
Smart logic.
Yeah.
But now he has to go back to the caliph.
To Caliph al-Hakim, who was known for being, let's say, volatile. Not someone you wanted to disappoint. Failure wasn't really an option.
So fearing for his life, essentially, Ibn al-Haytham does something pretty drastic.
He does. He pretends to be mad. Feigns insanity. Because under Islamic law at the time, someone deemed insane couldn't be held legally responsible. They were protected from punishment. It was a gamble, but a calculated one.
And it worked.
It did. Al-Hakim, despite his reputation, followed the law. Instead of executing him for failure, he placed Ibn al-Haytham under house arrest, basically protective custody in Cairo.
And this lasted for about 10 years, from roughly 1011 to 1021.
Yeah, about that. And here's the amazing twist. This period of confinement, this potential disaster for him,
Becomes his most productive period.
exactly, it paradoxically becomes the crucible for his greatest scientific work. It just shows incredible resilience, a total dedication to learning even when things looked bleak. He turned a terrible situation into a scientific opportunity.
It really is astounding. Locked away, but his mind is just exploding with ideas. And this is where Kitab al-Manar, the Book of Optics, comes from.
Precisely, his magnum opus. 7 volumes that didn't just refine ideas about vision, they completely overturned centuries of thinking.
Okay, so what were the old ideas? What was the dominant theory of vision before him?
Well, the big influences were the ancient Greeks. People like Euclid and Ptolemy, they believed something called the emission theory. The idea was that our eyes actually sent out rays.
Like little invisible feelers?
Kind of, yeah. Reaching out to touch objects to see them. Then you had Aristotle, who thought differently. He thought that the form of an object, its essence, somehow traveled into the eye, but not light itself.
Okay, so those are the big ideas for like 1,000 years.
Pretty much. These were the accepted explanations.
So how did Ibn al-Haytham challenge this? What made him think, no, wait, light comes into the eye?
It seems to have stemmed from direct observation and questioning those theories. A key point was probably pain from bright light. He might have asked, If our eyes send out rays, why does looking at the sun hurt so much? Why does it damage the eye?
Ah, right. That makes sense. It feels like something coming in, not going out.
Exactly. That direct physical experience was strong evidence against the emission theory. It's a simple observation, but it led to a complete reversal, a huge paradigm shift. Obvious to us now, but revolutionary then.
And then there's the story of the pinhole camera, the camera obscura.
Yes. The classic story. Observing light, maybe moonlight, streaming through a tiny hole into a dark room.
And seeing an inverted image projected on the opposite wall.
Precisely. And he wasn't just like, oh, that's neat. He experimented systematically. He built his own dark room, al-Bayt al-Muslim in Arabic.
Which translates to camera obscura in Latin.
Exactly, the direct ancestor of the camera.
Yeah.
And through these experiments, he showed two crucial things. One, light travels in straight lines. Two, that inverted image was proof positive that light enters the eye. It wasn't emitted, it was empirical proof.
Wow, so the camera obscura wasn't just a curiosity, it was experimental evidence.
Absolutely, a key part of his scientific method in action.
And he went further. Right, he looked at the eye itself.
He did. He studied the anatomy of the eye, described parts like the lens, the retina, the cornea, giving them names, some we still use.
But it wasn't just the physical eye, was it? He understood the brain was involved.
That's another huge leap. He realized vision isn't just light hitting the retina. It's the brain interpreting those signals, processing the visual information, and even combining it with memory and past experience to form our perception.
That's incredibly sophisticated for the time.
It really is. He also figured out moonlight, clarifying it wasn't just a reflection, but sunlight hitting the moon's surface and illuminating it, which we then see. It involved geometry, physics, a very advanced understanding.
And he kept experimenting, didn't he? With mirrors and lenses?
Oh, constantly. Flat mirrors, curved ones, spherical, parabolic, cylindrical, concave, convex, lenses too. He systematically studied reflection and refraction. He noted, for example, how objects seen through water or glass appear larger refraction.
So is this combination challenging old ideas, careful observation, systematic experiments, studying anatomy, understanding the brain's role?
And the physics and geometry of light itself. That whole package is why he absolutely earns the title Father of Optics. His book of optics really stands alongside Newton's Principia in terms of its impact on physics.
But it wasn't just what he found, it was how he found it. You mentioned the scientific method.
Yes, this is maybe even more profound than the optics discoveries themselves. He was arguably one of the very first to truly formalize and practice what we now recognize as the scientific method.
How so? What did that look like for him?
Well, he left us some pretty clear statements about his philosophy. There's this amazing quote. Let me see. Here. The seeker after truth is not one who studies the writings of the ancients and puts his trust in them, but rather the one who suspects his faith in them and questions what he gathers from them.
Wow. So, doubt everything. Be skeptical.
Essentially, yes. He continues. The duty of the man who investigates the writings of scientists is to make himself an enemy of all that he reads, so that he may avoid falling into either prejudice or leniency.
Make yourself an enemy of what you read. That's intense. It's basically saying, don't trust authority, trust evidence.
Precisely. And his method followed from that skepticism. It was systematic. Observe carefully. Form a hypothesis based on that observation. Then critically design and conduct experiments to test the hypothesis.
Verifiable experiment.
Verifiable, repeatable experiments. And only then draw conclusions based on the empirical results, not just based on logic or philosophy or what someone famous said centuries ago. He knew our senses could trick us, so testing was key.
Okay, that sounds incredibly modern. Observation, hypothesis, experiment, conclusion.
It really is the core of it. But there's another layer, something unique about his approach, especially compared to how science often developed later in the West.
What's that?
It's how deeply his science was rooted in his Islamic philosophical and theological framework. It wasn't separate.
How did that work?
Well, for him, doing science wasn't just about finding facts. It was a way to get closer to God, to Allah, SWT. It was about seeking divine blessing, mardat Allah. His work was guided by a moral compass, akhlaq. He was humble, always acknowledging the limits of human knowledge, and that ultimate truth comes from God.
So faith wasn't seen as opposing reason, but underpinning it.
Exactly. His sources of knowledge weren't just observation and intellect, aqla, but also divine revelation, like the Quran, which he sometimes cited in his scientific work, and even intuition. He believed strongly in Sunnat Allah, the idea that God created an orderly, lawful universe.
Ah, so because the universe followed laws, you could observe patterns and conduct repeatable experiments.
Precisely. That belief gave a foundation for scientific inquiry. His explanations were often value-laden, constantly pointing back to the greatness of the Creator, the principle of Tawhid or monotheism. It was a holistic worldview.
So it's this really integrated approach, rigorous science, but embedded within a framework of faith, ethics, and meaning. Not just asking how, but also connecting it to why.
Absolutely. It offers a very different model, perhaps, than the strict separation we often see today.
Fascinating. And beyond optics and method, he was into other things too, right? A true polymath.
Oh, definitely. His mathematics was groundbreaking on its own. He essentially founded analytic geometry by applying algebra to geometry, using equations to describe shapes. That's fundamental now.
Like plotting graphs, basically.
That's the root of it, yes. He also worked in number theory, looking at perfect numbers, things related to what we now call Wilson's theorem, the Chinese remainder theorem, really advanced stuff. And he found some formulas that were definite precursors to calculus.
And wasn't there a famous math problem he posed? Al-Hazen's problem.
Ah, yes. It sounds simple. You have a light source and a spherical mirror. Find the exact point on the mirror where the light reflects to hit an observer's eye.
Okay. Sounds like geometry.
It is, and he solved it geometrically, which was brilliant. But finding a general algebraic solution, that turned out to be incredibly difficult. It involved solving a fourth-degree equation. Mathematicians struggled with it for centuries.
It wasn't fully solved until when?
Algebraically, 1997. Using modern computational power. It just shows the complexity he was dealing with 1,000 years ago.
Incredible. What about astronomy?
He wasn't afraid to challenge the giants there either. He wrote a work called Doubts concerning Ptolemy, questioning the accepted Greek models of the cosmos. Again, emphasizing the need for consistency and observation in works like Configuration of the World.
He even touched on physics, like motion.
Yes, early ideas about motion, linking an object's velocity and weight, hinting at the concept of momentum. It anticipates aspects of Newton's first law. The breadth is just staggering.
So how did all this knowledge, developed partly in confinement, get out?
Yeah.
How did it influence later European science?
Translation was key, especially in 12th century Toledo, Spain, which was this amazing melting pot of cultures and translation center. His book of optics got translated into Latin.
As the Aspectopus.
And Opticae Thesaurus, yes. That opened the floodgates for European scholars. Roger Bacon leaned heavily on him. Leonardo da Vinci studied his work on optics and the camera obscura. Galileo knew of him.
Kepler, too, you mentioned.
Definitely. Kepler's work on how the image forms on the retina directly builds on and corrects aspects of Ibn al-Haytham's model. Descartes, Huygens, the list goes on. He was even honored centuries later by Johannes Hevelius in his major work on the moon, putting him right alongside Galileo.
So the influence was direct and profound. It really traveled.
No question. His ideas became foundational for the scientific revolution in Europe.
Which explains all the modern recognition, father of modern optics, father of the scientific method, first scientist.
And the honors like the lunar crater Al-Hazen, the asteroid 59239 Al-Hazen, his face on Iraqi banknotes, and UNESCO celebrating him in the 2015 International Year of Light.
It feels like his true stature is finally being appreciated globally.
It's long overdue, but yes.
So wrapping this up, we've seen this incredible journey. From the Nile challenge to house arrest, the revolution in optics, the birth of the scientific method, his polymath brilliance. What's the big takeaway for us, you think?
I mean, his impact is just undeniable. How we understand vision, how we do science, the technology derived from optics like cameras and telescopes. His fingerprints are on all of it. His insistence on proof, on questioning, on testing, that's the bedrock of scientific progress.
And it's amazing that it stretches over 1,000 years.
It really is. And his legacy still holds puzzles for us. Think about the moon illusion.
The way the moon looks huge on the horizon.
Exactly. He described and tried to explain that over 1,000 years ago. And you know what? We still don't have a single universally accepted scientific explanation for why it happens. It's a reminder that the quest he started is far from over.
Or maybe thinking about his integrated approach, science and faith and ethics all woven together. Does that offer something we've lost, perhaps?
It certainly invites reflection, doesn't it? A different way to think about the purpose and practice of science, perhaps a more holistic one. It shows that rigorous inquiry doesn't have to be separate from seeking meaning.
Yeah. His whole life seems to be a testament to finding light, literally and figuratively, even in confinement, just by looking closely, questioning, and experimenting.
Absolutely. It's a powerful message.
So maybe the challenge for all of us listening is just that. Notice the world around you. Notice the light. Ask questions. Don't just accept things. Keep exploring, just like Ibn al-Haytham.
Show, let's go, open up your mind and grow. Facts and stories, things you never know. Every episode, we light the glow. Step into the world of Math Show. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Math Show. Lights up bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow. New ideas begin to shine. Breaking limits, crossing lines. Every moment feels divine. In the world of Math Show time. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Math Show. Lights so bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow.